Coming to you from the Sherpa Chalet at the top of beautiful downtown Mount Podcastia, it's a special episode of Too Many Podcasts.
I'm Jim the Podcast Sherpa, and today it's a special episode where I get to speak with people from the entertainment industry. So get yourself an aisle seat, pop up some popcorn, and get a cold drink ready, and sit back. Don't crunch too loud, or else you'll miss the interview from the Sherpa Screening Room. Hey there, Rebels, and welcome to another episode of the Sherpa Screening Room. It's me, Jim the Podcast Sherpa. Hope you're enjoying these episodes of I Was a Child Actor. And we had 3 of them this week, so if you're listening to this one and you want to catch the other ones, they're on your favorite podcast app or on my website, Sherpalution.com. And just like with the rest of the shows, this episode is being brought to you by Audible, and you can get a free audiobook download and a free 30-day trial at www.audibletrial.com/Sherpa. There's over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Today's guest, a little bit different from the other guests, I think, because he really didn't pursue any acting career afterwards. He was happy to live his life and run a restaurant right in the same area where the movie that he was in was filmed. What movie was that? That would be Jaws, and his name is Jeff Vorhees. So let's head on down to the conference room and hear the stories that Jeff had to tell. Hey there, Rebels. Welcome to the Sherpa Screening Room. Now, 45 years ago this year, a movie came onto the scene that made people afraid to go to the beach. Now, you're probably thinking that's an unusual fear to have, but I think if you saw the movie and you know what we're talking about, which would be a movie based on the novel by Peter Benchley, a little thing called Jaws, that kind of did the trick for everybody, I think. And my guest today is a gentleman who actually was a quite young gentleman back in the day when the movie was filmed, and he was actually one of the victims of the shark. And his name is Jeffrey Vorhees. Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
How's it going? What should we get the little da 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 da? Because I'm about to die, or no? I died years ago. But, no, this is Jeff Vorhees, Alex Kintner in the movie Jaws. Yeah, 45 years ago. It was filmed. Well, I'm still on that island, Martha's Vineyard, Amity Island, where they filmed it. And yeah, just moved down to the island back in the 70s, and we found out they're filming a movie, and we lived right in town. And so they said they pay you $40 a day to be an extra. So we all said, oh, let's go sign up. And so, we're just little kids. We all signed up, and all of a sudden, a couple of days later, lived right. It's a small island, Amity, Martha's Vineyard, up in Massachusetts here, and so we all, just walked down the street to this hotel. It's a small island, and we signed up to be extras. And yeah, $40 a day. You're 12 years old. It's like, this is great. And then they called a few people back, and they said, okay, read a line or two. And they just hand you a sheet with a bunch of stuff on it. You read a few lines, and they go, okay, we're going to give you a speaking part, and you'll get $140 a day. It's like, whoa, okay. Just got to say a few words, and my friends will all make $40 a day. I'll make $140, and that's a lot of money when you're a little kid. It was fun.
Sure.
And yeah, and the funny part was, then all of a sudden they're filming a movie here on this little island, and back then, that's come Labor Day, this island died right off. It's a little different nowadays, but they were going to film a movie, and they film it, and it was right around May is when I died. I kind of laugh about it because it's like, oh, that's when I died in the movie. But they were filming the movie down here, and I found out that I was going to be one of the first people that die in the movie. It's the first one that they really know that died, because the little dog Pippet that vanishes, the black lab, and then the lady that gets dragged around. You didn't really know it was a shark when Susan. I'd done some signings with her. I was down. The lady that dies first, she was like a real actress. They flew her in from California, and she was just down for the day, a couple of days doing it, and they would drag her back and forth, and they have like ropes tied to her legs, and that's why you see her go flying back and forth. And then also the third one, the guy, a dog, and then the young lady, and then me, didn't know how they were going to do it and stuff. And right at the actual place where they filmed that scene, where if you remember, they had a lot of little beach shacks out on the beach. They filmed it in May, and if you look behind those, when you're watching the movie, the little beach shacks, they look really nice. But if you look on the other side, it was all plywood with 2x4s holding it up. They just made it and make it look that way, and they look pretty good. And that's where they said, okay, this is where your scene's going to be. The lady that was my mother, Lee Fierro, I'm not seeing, she was my mother in the movie. They said, you're going to go over, ask her if you can go back in the water. Then, so basically I go over, can I go back in the water? Let me look at your hands. Oh, they're pruned. And I kind of beg her. Unfortunately, she let me go in and done it. But filming it, everyone would say over the years, oh, were you afraid of the shark? It's like, no, they filmed this in May on Martha's Vineyard and, off of Cape Cod in Massachusetts. And this water is cold in May. It doesn't warm up here till July, the water. So people are like, so you weren't afraid of the shark? No, I was freezing my you-know-what off. Because they said, as soon as you beg to go back in the water, if you remember it, I pick up a raft and go running back into the water. And something I was doing a signing with the person that made the shark. He was down in Florida doing the signing with Susan because it was at a shark tournament. Field and Stream, the magazine, said, oh, we have someone else eaten by a shark doing a signing at the shark tournament in Florida down in Tampa last July. And it was funny because the person that made the shark, he was there. And these guys were really like, they didn't want, when I go in the water there, something I never knew, the bathing suit they gave me to wear, it was red. They didn't want any red in the movie, I was told. It's like it's blood, but for some reason, that's the only pair of shorts they had that day, and so that was one thing, but it was just funny doing it. But I just pick up a raft, and they go, okay, start swimming out, maybe 10, 15 yards, and then we walk out there. It was probably about up to a little more than my waist. And we go out there, you go, swim out to this thing here. And it was this big round metal container that was probably, the size of an oil drum. And the raft would just fit over. They go, swim out to this, and then we'll say cut. And so I swim out on the raft, they say cut, and then I get off the raft, and they had a raft that was cut in half, and they pull it over this big container that's full of blood. And you can't really see it from the shore. It's like right on the top of the water, so all the blood would stay in there. And, you're 12 years old, and they're like, okay, now you're going to lie on top of this. So the raft is on top of this machine full of blood, and then I have to lie on top of the raft and the blood holder as the machine that blows it all up. And then he goes, as soon as you're lying on top of that, I'll say, this is Spielberg, one of his first movies, so he's doing everything perfectly, and he's like, just lie on top of it, and then we'll roll it again, and then it's going to blow the blood up in the air. It's like, what? It's like freezing cold. The blood's going to blow up in there. He goes, swim underwater and stay under there as long as you can. Hold on to the machine under there. And it's like, okay. And so all of a sudden the first time it's like lying on it, and it's like blood starts flying up. And if you've seen the movie, you can see blood flying in the air. And so basically I go underwater, stay under there as long as I could, and then finally swim ashore. And it's like, get ashore, freezing cold. All my friends were extras in it, and they're all on the beach there. I'm like, okay, we're all done now. And Spielberg, he was, no, your arm came out of the water near the end. We're going to have to do it again. And it would take like 7 or 8 hours for all the blood to clear out. And since I had a speaking part, Screen Actors Guild, I was one of the lucky ones. I did a little walk up to a nice little trailer that they had, dry you off. You could sit inside the nice warm area. It was cold outside, and you're soaking wet. All my friends are wet outside. And I screwed up, and I got into the nice warm dressing room. All my friends were outside freezing cold, and they would have to wait like 8 hours. And so they tried it again. And 5 days later, the second time your arm was out of the water, your leg was out of the water. And after 5 days, the movie, it was costing them more than they expected to start with. And for a scene where I'm in the movie just for a couple of minutes, it took 5 days. And the fifth day, they finally said, okay, this time when it happens, We got two guys in wetsuits. They're going to be underwater, and when that thing blows up, you're going to feel them grab your legs. They're going to lift you up and down a few times, then pull you underwater and give you air because they have the tanks on them. And it's like, oh, okay. So if you see the movie, you'll see me going up and down. That's two guys holding onto my legs, lifting me up and down in the water. And then they pull you under and give you air. And finally, it all worked out perfect. But it was fun doing that part. And so we finally, after 5 days, and, you know, I didn't mind. It's 140 a day, 5 times that. When you're 12, that's good. But then the other little scenes of the movie was fun doing because if you remember, there's a little parade. I just moved down to the island, and Edgartown Boys and Girls Club, they had drum and bugle, and I played the drums in that thing. And they had a little parade that goes the wrong way up that main street there. If you know the island at all, it's like, wait a minute, this is going the wrong direction. But I go, I'm in that the parade, so I could be in that too. And they're like, no, because you're going to die in the movie. And then finally they said, well, you're not dead yet, so you can be in that scene. So I was in. If you see the drummer, I'm in that part too. It's you go, oh, there he is, the dead Alex Kinder. So, and then after that, you know, there was all these little things that they would do. It's like, if you remember the shark hanging up, and they said, oh, let's cut it. We think we got it. And no, don't cut it open. The Kinder boy will spill out all over the dock. And we used to go out and watch them when they were filming it. And it's a small island. And that shark that was hanging up in the movie shipped out all the way up from Florida. And back then, in the 70s, it was in the back of some guy's pickup truck. And, you know, that's a 4 or 5 day trip. And that thing smelled so bad that was hanging up, if you remember the shark there.
Sure.
And the school where we went, you know, that thing would be hanging up all day, and you could smell it over the school, maybe a half mile away. And you just go down there watching that. But then the other little fun parts were when they were filming it, the person that made the shark, like we did this down in Florida last year at this signing. I didn't know they give you a microphone. That was part of the deal of this one. Usually you just sign pictures. But this one, you get up on stage and the audience gets to ask you questions, and you have to tell some of your part. And the person that made the shark, was talking about, oh, yeah, the shark was breaking down all the time, and the shark kept breaking down. It's the left side of the shark that looked real, and then if you looked on the other side, it's all mechanical, and then vice versa. The right side of the shark, the left side was mechanical in the top part. And he would always talk about how he was telling people, they're like, oh, the shark broke down when we're filming this and that. And that's where I kind of thought, okay, when I got the microphone, I'm going to come out and tell the honest truth. And as we were little kids, and where they store the shark at nighttime, it's a little island, but they have a nice little yacht club, the fancy yacht club. And they had a place where they stored boats and all the big stuff, this big warehouse down near the water. And that's like a 5-10 minute walk from where we were living at the time. And every night, around 8 or 9 at night when it's dark, we went down there with flashlights. And this is back before they would have armed guards and security alarms everywhere. We just break in and climbed over the shark all the time. It's like, oh, my arms. Bruce was the name of the shark. And you go over and you grab in its teeth, and you have flashlights. And when this guy was talking about the shark breaking down, when I was talking, I go, I hate to tell you, maybe it's me and my friends, we used to climb all over that thing at nighttime. And he was giving me an evil look. It's like, sorry about that. But, just the little things like that. And over the years, it was fun making the movie. They would have like cookouts and baseball games. And Richard Dreyfuss, Robert Shaw, Roy Snyder, those guys would all show up, and just little kids, you'd be out there playing baseball. Richard Dreyfuss, he was really nice. He'd be out there playing baseball with you. And then all of a sudden you see Robert Shaw way over there, the captain of the boat. And you go over to him, and he was just like in the movie. You get close, it's like, smells like a brewery or some nasty bar in the morning. But you get closer, and it's like, oh, how's it going? And he sounded just like in the movie. Get away from me, you little. He used to get so bad, and that was, you're 12 years old. That was the perfect thing to have fun with, because we knew it pissed him off. So every time we saw him, you had to run over, get away from me, you little crap. And it's like, so that was, just lots of little things like that. And, watching them filming it and breaking in, climbing all over the shark. But then as the first time it came out in the movies, it was fun watching it. And all of a sudden when it came on TV, something I never really even knew about was royalties. And something I had to sign up if you had a speaking part, Screen Actors Guild. And it's like, what's that? It's like, okay. And the first time it came on TV, all of a sudden I get a check in the mail. It's like, what the hell is this? Screen Actors Guild, Jaws. It would say what network it was shown on. And, back then it was not the first time, a lot more than you made in the movie, $15,000. And, over the years, you get little checks here and there. And my dear brother, his wife and kids, they lived over in Spain for years. And I would get texts from him. Good news. You just died on TV over here. And it's like, oh, okay, a little check's coming. And it's just funny, just all these little things. And like you get, I live on that island still, and you get people that come down from all over the world just to see where they film Jaws. You get people from England in here all the time. Down at the bar and restaurant, we had this thing, the Alex Kintner burger for a while. And, the Jaws people knew about those things. And one slow day in the spring before it got too busy, it's like I look out, I see a lady, two ladies, and there's like 3 different tables out there. It's like, damn, that's Lee Fierro, my mother in the movie. I had not seen her in years. And so I kind of told the waitress, hey, I got this table. And I took a little pad, went over, hello, ladies. Let's see, what can wait a minute. Can I interrupt you for a minute? I'm going to say, can I ask you a very personal, odd question? Tell me to go away if it's a little strange. And she recognized me, Lee Fierro, and she's like, what? I go, it's a real strange question. Just tell me to go away. And her friends look at me like I'm crazy. She's like, oh, go ahead. What? And she knew. It's like, I was like, okay, this is really odd, but I have to ask you, do you believe in reincarnation? And she's like, what? I go, I think I died years ago, and, you look like my mother in my previous life. And her friend looks at me like I'm crazy, and another table heard me, and all of a sudden she's like, oh, my God, I had a son that died back in the 70s. And then all of a sudden they're looking at her like she's crazy. And I go, yeah, it's because I think you look like my mother. I remember you. And she's like, how'd you die? I go, it was in the ocean. And she goes, were you killed? I go, I think I was eaten. She goes, were you eaten by an animal? I go, I don't know. I just remember getting chewed up. And she goes, was it a shark? I go, it might have been. And she stands up and gives me, you're my son. And she hugs me. And then finally, everyone's looking at like the two of us like we're crazy. And she finally tells her friend, hey, we were in that movie years ago together. And it's just funny because I had not seen her in so long. And Good Morning America caught up with me and said, oh, we're doing an interview with your mother in the movie, and can you do it with her? And it's like, oh, Lee's going to do it. I'll do it with her. Why not? And they had to help her down on the beach. And basically they were asking some questions. And after the question they asked her was, oh, we hear that for years, people would always ask you to slap him in the face. If you remember the movie, she slaps the sheriff in the face, Brody. She was like, they asked me for like the first 5-10 years, everyone wanted me to slap him in the face, and I won't do it anymore. And the guy's like, oh, no, you finally said no. And she goes, yeah, I won't do it. Then I go, let me interrupt you guys for a minute. And you're my mother in the movie. Slap me in the face like in the movie. And the guy behind the camera is shaking his head, yes. And he's like, what? I go, come on, Mom, slap me in the face. And the guy said, yeah, do it. It's like, and also she gives me a little tap. I go, no, like in the movie. And she gave me a good one. And when the whole thing was over there, the Good Morning America, the guy that was doing it goes, that was great. We only have like a minute and a half of this that's going to go on. They probably won't put that part on, but that will be on the internet all the time. It's like, it was just funny, little things like that. Over the years, you get people that are possessed with that movie. It's like, and this one Harley Davidson rider, the waitress is like, oh, he wants to show you something. And went down to the table. He takes a big leather jacket off, and it's the whole Jaws logo tattooed on his arm. And the guy's pretty big, so you got the whole Jaws logo, and then underneath, Richard Dreyfuss, Roy Schneider, all the way down near the elbow, Jeff Vorhees. My name's on the guy's arm. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Steven, this friend out in California, got me this thing called Cameo. I'm not sure if you ever heard of that.
Oh, yeah, right. When you do the video cards and stuff like that for people.
Yeah, last year they finally they got me to hook up on that thing, and it's just I did like 4 of them today, and people are like, "Oh, my kids are big Jaws fans," and with all the schools out now, we watch that movie so much. I just thought this would cheer them up. Can you? And they kind of send you a message to say to the kids. And so I would like, "Oh, kids, I'll say it. I'll be polite on this one." And I live on that island, and down on that beach where you see me die, I had a couple large dogs, a Saint Bernard and a Bernese Mountain Dog. I'd be running the dogs down there. And so it's like, so I bring the phone down. It's like, okay, I'll do the cameo here. And it's like, okay, here, the dead Alex Kentner. Here's where I was eaten by Jaws. And, just talk and tell them about the movie. And people love it because they're like, the person that runs it out in Chicago, he's like, yeah, we're getting all the like 5 stars. Thank you. Because most of the times on those things, people just sit on their couch, or they love it because I go down to the beach where I died. I'll be down there saying, here's where that shark was hanging up. The little ferry goes back and forth because that's right where our restaurant. And you're standing out there going, oh, here's where the Kentner boy was going to spill out all over the dock. I didn't know. I thought maybe you get them once in a while, but it's like, this one was like, oh, my father was a big Jaws fan and he died watching the movie on the couch. It's like, what? It's like, how do I answer something like that? It's like, okay, well, I'll give it a shot. It's like, so your father died watching me die. I hear he's a big Jaws fan. And all of a sudden, like a day or two later, after talking about, oh, yeah, I was eating too. And, oh, thank you so much. That was great. It's like, no, it's just funny. It's just Jaws still lives on over years and years.
When you first made the movie, did you have any idea that it was going to become the blockbuster that it actually did?
No, and they were filming it. At first, I didn't even think it was going to. They were about to just cancel, throw the whole thing away. It was taking too much time. And, before that movie, real horror movies before that, King Kong, Godzilla, Planet of the Apes. But this is one of the first real gory ones. And that's why I think, like, the part where you see me going up and down with the blood, at one of these signings where they were talking, they would say the fake shark that looks so real that you see in the movie going up on the boat, and his name was Bruce. They had a dummy that looked a little like me, and that's at first the shark comes up and grabs me, the mechanical shark. Pieces are flying everywhere. And since this is back in the 70s, right now that would be, oh, that was great. They're going, no, that's too hardcore. This kid's parts are flying everywhere and blood, and so that's why they didn't use that. But the movie took off. Amity Island, it's like Martha's Vineyard. This island makes they have Jaws tours, and I just started doing the signings a few years ago because, it's fun. They fly you, like last year down to Tampa, and I was supposed to be up in Toronto in a couple of weeks, but that all got canceled because where they filmed it, where they're doing that signing, Canada, I guess they said if it was more than 5,000 people, this is weeks ago, the guy that was running it's like, yeah, last year there were about 8,500 people at the signing, and so they're going to have to cancel it. So now, because this year the people that run these things, the ones I do in New York and done, I've done a few. There was one out in Worcester we did last Columbus Day. They're going like next year, meaning this year, it's the 45th anniversary. And these people that do these signings and know everything about it, they're like, there's only 7 of you still alive that are in the movie. And the 45th anniversary, we're going to try to get a few of you to do the signing at the same time. It'll be it's like, okay. So I always tell them I'll do like 3 or 4 a year. And the one in New York, when they first got me to that one, that was a big one down there because you had everyone, you had hundreds of people at those. I mean, Loretta Swift, Robert Wagner, they would have the whole Blood Bowl crew, just tons of different actors. And that one's done around Halloween, and like the ladies from Friday the 13th, they do these signings too every couple of years with the same people that I do it with. And they bring all the pictures, and these ladies they always laugh. They're like, you're in that movie for 1 or 2 minutes, and you get more people over there trying to get your autograph on those pictures of you dying, and we're real actresses. It's like, sorry, I was just a dead 12-year-old. It's like, it's just funny. Just in the movie for a minute, and people know all about that.
I guess what happened with that scene, I remember we were having a conversation with our mutual friend, Stephen Joyner, and he really raised a good point. He said, in a lot of the other movies that used to scare people, it was things happening at night and there was a monster and they would usually go after an adult. But here was this big movie where it was daylight and it was a shark and it was a child and there was blood. So it really made people step back and look at horror a whole new way.
I mean, as I said, because, just a 12-year-old kid on a raft, and that's why it's in people's minds. I mean.
So what did you do, like, after the movie? Did you stay in the movie business or did you just kind of live your life like a regular kid?
They did a few other little movies down, just being extras. We like doing it, and that was pretty much it for my acting days. But it's hard to believe that, like, person down near this restaurant that we run, he did it years ago. It's at Jaws. It says the Wharf Pub on the front, and the back, it's the whole Jaws with the little kid on the raft. And it says Alex Kintner still alive at the wharf, and the shark's about to be grabbing this little kid. And he made it years ago. As a little kid, it looked like in the movie. And he goes, I updated it. He did this just last spring, and he goes, I updated it. Can we do it again? It's like, I don't care. It's like, he goes, you'll like it better. And he showed me it. And the Jaws, it looked the same. The whole Jaws logo, that looked the same. And the little kid on the raft, you go, wait a minute, that looks more like it. It's like the kid and the boy still alive at the wharf, but it's the kid on the raft. See, over the years, I don't think I have half my hair anymore. And the kid on the raft was missing a lot of his hair, too. I go, that looks more realistic now. It's like, I'm a big Bruins fan. And on this island, we do alumni thing, if you know the Bruins at all. Oh, you remember the Bobby Orr, Phil Esposito days? And
okay.
This one guy, Mike Milbury, he saw some of the Jaws stuff hanging on the walls in the back where they came down to a restaurant after and had drinks and some food and stuff, and he saw the pictures on the wall. It says it'd be shots of me that I take back from some of these signings, and we just film on the walls because some of the Jaws people love it. And he's like, oh, that's Alex Kintner. Oh, I'm a big Jaws fan. Is he ever around here? And the bartender, she's like, that's him right over there. And he was like, Rick Middleton was like, oh, are you a Bruins fan? I go, I definitely am a Bruins fan. I go, yeah. He's like, if you get me one of those shirts and sign it, I'll get you a Bruins shirt, and I'll get Bobby Orr, Phil. I'll get so many people to sign it for you. And I was like, fine. I get him a shirt. I signed it to him, and this pictures of us holding a Jaws shirt, and he was so psyched about it. And he sent down a shirt with Bruins autographs and stuff. But he was just like psyched for it. And everyone's like, so you just gave him the shirt, right? I go, no, I didn't charge him for the autograph. But he paid $20 for the shirt.
Why don't you let everybody know the name of the restaurant that you run? So if ever they're around Martha's Vineyard, if they get curious.
It's a small island. All these little Jaws things that still go on this island. It's unreal that some people, they come down just to that, and some crazy Jaws people. But no, I'm down at Martha's Vineyard, the Wharf Pub and Restaurant. That's why I always tell the people on Cameo, if you ever down on the island, stop by the restaurant, see some pictures.
There you have it, folks. We've been hearing from Mr. Jeffrey Vorhees, who was Alex Kintner in the movie Jaws. Jeff, thank you so much for sharing your memories.
Well, I hope everyone has a great day, and this is the dead Alex Kintner checking out, I guess.
Thanks once again to Jeff Vorhees for coming on down to the Sherpa screening room and sharing some of his stories while working on the movie Jaws. If you haven't heard the rest of these shows, check out my website, Sherpalution.com, or you can get this show on your favorite podcast app, whichever you choose. Don't forget to follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, @Sherpalution. Mr. Bruce, there's something coming out of the water behind you. Quick, show everybody to the door and swim! Viva la Sherpalution. Oh no, that's just the tuna fish sandwich I had yesterday, sorry.
Thanks for listening to Too Many Podcasts. Please disperse. You can go home now. I said you can go home now. Viva la Sherpalution. Viva la Sherpalution. Oh. Yeah, I'll come back now, you hear?